When Barcelona bought Frenkie de Jong, he was one of those players that was just simply going to become the pillars, the keystones to a new revolution, a new generation. And surely this season under Ronald Koeman, he has managed finally to instate his name into, I think, for now at least, the history books of Barcelona for that midfield. In that midfield, Frenkie de Jong is gonna reign supreme. And in this video, we're gonna be explaining why finally that is the case. Because under Valverde, under Quique Setién, he was clearly not up to scratch. But Ronald Koeman, still with some mistakes here and there, has managed to find the way to exploit de Jong's attributes. And I believe it's not gonna be the way that you intended to go. Join us in this new episode of Unscripted as we take a look at Frenkie de Jong and why he is the definition for most valuable player. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Welcome to the very first episode of Unscripted. It's going to be a way for me just to do quick videos and just kind of sharper reactions. There's nothing scripted here, so these videos might be a little bit crazier. I just wanted to begin off by saying that I never really understood the argument as to why Frenkie de Jong was not as high rated as other midfielders right now in the world. We have Kante, we have Bruno Fernandes and De Bruyne, and they're almost the kind of three main names alongside Toni Kroos and Joshua Kimmich as the top 5 midfielders in, well, this world. And for me, there's something going on with de Jong that surely other people or the general public don't understand. You really have to watch Frenkie de Jong to admire his quality. So before starting off this video, guys, if you can subscribe to the channel, that would be incredible. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like by the end. If you didn't, dislike, and let's get started with this analysis on de Jong. I believe that when Frenkie de Jong came to Barcelona, we all thought that he was going to be fixated to become the successor to Busquets. He was going to be fixated into that position, just basically being a center defensive midfielder. But if you actually take a look at what de Jong is as a player, he's much more than that. He's not the best CDM that the world can see. He can be the best midfielder because he understands the game at a different tempo, at a different rhythm, allowing him to play as he's doing recently in the latest Barcelona games, where he can sometimes play as a center back, where he can play as a number 10 or even as a false 9. De Jong understands the game much quicker than his opponents and many of his teammates. And that is why he's such a versatile player, and I would say basically the opposite of a liability for Barcelona this season. He is literally the pillar that we should build for the next few seasons. When de Jong was at the top of his game, reaching the semi-final of the UCL with Ajax, many considered him already to be the next heir for many different positions around the world. He could go to Bayern Munich, just become the staple there. He could go to Real Madrid, he could go to Manchester City, PSG. Every single person around this globe wanted Frenkie de Jong. But then a few disputes with Valverde, and even Koeman got into the mix even before being the coach of Barcelona, that he kind of criticized the Spanish coach by putting Frenkie de Jong as a left center midfielder. All of those things kind of eclipsed the fact that de Jong was actually a good player, making him seem just like an extra signing on a club that was destined to fail. Let's remember that de Jong came into a moment where Barcelona was in complete disarray, where they were buying left, right and center players like Coutinho, Dembele, Antoine Griezmann that were just not functioning. It wasn't even until this season where Griezmann was looked as a flop. Dembele was constantly injured and Coutinho kind of scored 2 goals against Barcelona, then won the UCL in a different club. So of course there were arguments to point out that Frenkie de Jong could fall into that same category. But the talent that this kid has, well, not kid because he's even older than I am, he is just undoubted. He is going to become a fantastic player and he's already majestic to watch. And now I want to point you to the quote that Ronald Koeman had to say about Frenkie de Jong, because in fact he also saw de Jong fixated in that CDM position. And now if you take a look at the way de Jong plays, that's not really the case. So what changed? Koeman said the following: the position he's playing now is different to the national team and Ajax. He's learning to play further forward like this. It's not all bad, but it's not his best position. For me, I think he performs better playing deeper. Fast forward to de Jong playing in a double pivot in the first few matches of the Koeman era next to Busquets. He was just a massive disappointment. I'm gonna say it straight up, de Jong looked awful. If you take a look at the preseason, de Jong was often given errors that often led to goals during that time. De Jong was not really up to scratch, and the main reason was because next to Busquets he had to act for two players in the same position. Busquets wasn't going to move, he wasn't going to be mobile, so De Jong could not be as free to roam around and do his creative game, because he also had to defend for the 32-year-old that couldn't move. Fast forward now to Koeman that actually realized that was a mistake and put De Jong further forward and allowed for a back three to instead do the load, the defensive carrying that Busquets cannot do. Frenkie de Jong in 14 appearances playing as an interior has 7 goals and 7 assists. That's the output, better, far better than many strikers in Europe. And not even that, but throughout that spell he has played many different positions in a game. He never remains in the same exact area of the field, because his understanding of the game allows him to be the player to mix and match to the necessity of the team. We don't have a center back to play against PSG away from home. Bang, De Jong can play as a libero and inherit the kind of majestic aura that Koeman had as a player. He can be there, he can put 1.1 key passes per game, no matter where he is on the field. And that is the key that makes De Jong so special, a player that can mold. And for me overall, it is that position, the box-to-box midfielder, where De Jong is really excelling. He's evolving, he's becoming a better player than what he was when Ajax got to the semifinals. And here is also why Koeman likes Pedri so much, because Pedri can match that output, can cover up for De Jong, and can occupy the spaces when he is moving forward. I believe Pedri has one thing above everybody else in this team, and that is solidarity. He can cover up and doesn't even ask about the work that he has to do, he just does it. That is why Koeman really likes this guy, and that is why we should all be praising the 18-year-old. So overall, of course, just the goals are not it. But in it, we're seeing a De Jong that is able to add different aspects to his game. If you take a look at what he said at the start of the season, he wanted to improve his goal scoring abilities. And still, he's not the done deal, but just imagine if he's able to kind of tune a little bit his finishing. He will certainly become a massive asset to this team. And the key is that Ronald Koeman is building the team around him. And De Jong can also operate in the areas where we're not working well. So De Jong is really the MVP of this season. De Jong is really the most valuable player of Barcelona's team in 2020-2021. That's gonna be everything for right now, guys. Hope you have enjoyed. Be sure to let me know in the comment box down below if you like this new format. Of course, also subscribe to the channel and like this video if you did, dislike if you didn't. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.